JSheetz
Rotring Isographs, my favorite pen to draw with. So let's talk about which pen I prefer drawing with and what the reasons are for that. So I have here the .35, and then I also have the .25 and the .18. .18 comes in red, .25 comes in the white color, and the .35, which is my favorite pen, comes in the yellow. Now, these pens, the .35, .25, and .18, they're on the smaller end as far as the sizes of pens that are used by most people. Most people usually use a .35 or a .5 for the drawing, but because I do more intricate and detailed doodles, and I'm using sketchbooks that sometimes might have just a bit of a smoother paper than what is usually used by most artists when it comes to what they're drawing in, such as if you're drawing in a mixed media sketchbook, or if you're drawing in a sketchbook that can be used for pencil that has a slightly rougher surface. And most of my sketchbooks have smooth surfaces because I'm usually drawing with ink, and so because of that I ended up getting the smaller sizes of the pens as well. Now the .18, which is the smallest pen here, now this one is one that I use for extremely tiny details. If I'm doing something that is mostly completed with the .25 and the .35, and then after I've got most of it done, I'll go in with the .18 and do some really tiny details. Now I don't really use this pen that often, but when I do, as I said, I usually use it for when I want to make a lot of details or get things looking really three-dimensional, give a lot of depth to it, and make it look more realistic and intricate. Now these two are actually the ones that I use the most often, and the .25 is the one that I do the same with as the .18. There's not that much of a size difference between the .35 and the .25, but strangely enough, maybe it's just my personal opinion or preference, is that I think that the size difference between the .25 and the .18 seems to be larger than the .35, or maybe not. You give me your opinion on that, but that's just something I've noticed. The .18 is just such a tiny line, and the thing with the .35 is that sometimes if you're drawing with it, if you're holding the pen across the paper, the ink flows a lot more than you're going to get with the .25 and the .18. So do be aware of that when you're doing drawings with the larger nibbed pens. If you have very thin paper, and let's say you're drawing it in a moleskin sketchbook, and the paper in the moleskins is very thin, if you were to use something such as a .5 or larger, you might run the risk of causing the ink to bleed to the next page, and so then you will have an extra page that you might not want to draw in, or you could draw in it and you might have to just make some kind of doodle if you're drawing portraits. So the .35 is the one that I use the most often, and the .25 as well. Now if I'm doing an entire drawing with only one pen, I will use this one probably, I'd say 90% of the time, 95 maybe, and then 5 to 10% of the time I'll do an entire drawing with this. But I usually just use the .35 to do most of the drawing, and then after that I will go in with the .25 and add in more details. Now if I'm doing like I did with the .35, where I'm drawing most of it and then I add this for details, if I'm doing a drawing most with the .25, then I will at the end go in with the .18 if I feel it's necessary and add more details with that pen as well. But just a quick video here talking about these three pens, not much else other than that. But I figured I'd answer that quick question about why I use each pen over the other one, and the reasons why I prefer them. But if there's anything else I can think of to cover these pens, I will do that in another video. But do let me know in the comments below if you have any questions about anything you'd like me to draw, or that you want me to review or go over. Until then, thank you for watching. Don't forget to give this a like if you want to, share it with your friends, comment below and ask me any questions, and don't forget to subscribe for new content. Until then, thank you for watching and have fun out there doodling. And remember, let me know which of these pens is your favorite one to draw with and why that is in the comments down below.